Hello, you wonderful people. Welcome back to Reddit Read Along. I'm Unofficial Ninja, and today I'm going to be reading the story from Entitled People. And boy, is it a doozy. Strap in, get you something to drink, and open your ears for a story. My fiance cheated on me and got pregnant by her affair partner, then told everyone I was the one who cheated on her after she got caught. My entire family and almost everyone else believed her. This is a throwaway account. I, 26-year-old male, used to be engaged to Chrissy, 29-year-old female. We were together for roughly 6 years. My family was pretty close with her, and her family really liked me. Then when Chrissy suddenly got pregnant, she went and told my mother first at the beginning of December. And she started telling everybody right away. I was pretty mad Chrissy didn't tell me first, but she claimed that she was too excited to keep it to herself. My family immediately pushed me into proposing, but now I'm just thankful I didn't marry this woman. It was a bit of a rush, but I got a decent refurbished diamond ring for about $1,000. I then took Chrissy out to dinner for the proposal. She said yes, and I started looking for potential venues for a wedding and reception. I couldn't afford anything fancy, especially on a rush. Chrissy was adamant it couldn't be a courthouse wedding or a Vegas wedding. I hadn't even finished those plans or put down payment on anything before crap hit the fan. Not long after proposing to her, Chrissy became more cold to me. She was already on her phone a lot, but something felt different. She was more guarded of it and would snap at me if I even asked about a small thing. Then she claimed it was just the hormones, and she was just talking to friends about the upcoming baby shower. She had her baby shower, and my mom hosted it. Chrissy got lots of gifts from friends and family, and my mother bought her an expensive stroller. Things seemed to be going okay. But then in December, Chrissy started getting even more bitter towards me. It looked like she was forced to smile anytime I was around her. I confided in my best friend about it. He told me that I'd been ignoring red flags from Chrissy the whole time we were together. He tried to tell me, but I just wouldn't listen to him before. He convinced me to check her phone and see if she was cheating. Then told me what apps to look into and check every name in her logs as well as her trash folder. Chrissy's phone wasn't hard to get. She doesn't tuck it under her pillow or anything. It was always charging on the nightstand and unlocked with a thumbprint. I got out of bed and pretended to go to the bathroom, but I actually went into the living room, just stayed there quietly sitting in the dark until I heard her start snoring again. The most tricky part was pressing her thumb on the phone while she was asleep without waking her up. I left the bedroom door cracked, so I just had enough light to see. Then I had to cover the phone screen with a towel to keep it from being too bright. And then I carefully maneuvered it under her hand and unlocked it. It opened up, and then I carefully tiptoed out of the room and muted it. Her trash folder was completely empty, meaning she'd probably not bothered to delete anything from the affair, and I'm not joking about her using the name Karen. She loves Karen stuff. She's addicted to Reddit videos, so she'll probably see this post sooner or later, though I don't really care. I recognized the man she'd been cheating with. He was her coworker and her high school boyfriend that she reconnected with when he got a job at the same company as her. He is taller and better looking than me, and is in much better shape. But Chrissy claimed that the relationship she had with him was just platonic, and that she had no feelings for him anymore after decades. But my God, the things they had together in the text log. Chrissy fully admitted the baby was his, and even had a rough, discernible timeline of the affair and conception date of the pregnancy, which was during a week I'd been away on a business trip. She called me a simp and claimed I believe anything she told me. They'd also exchanged some extremely detailed and graphic erotic fantasies with each other about pregnant stuff. It made me feel sick, but I held it in to keep scrolling and getting more evidence. Among the things Chrissy said about me, she remarked her affair partner was bigger than me too. Together they discussed some crazy plan to get my name onto the baby's birth certificate so her family wouldn't be wiser about her cheating. And then she divorced me a few years later for alimony, and then she and him could play house together like they always wanted. I was horrified, heartbroken, then furious. I was taking screenshots and texting them to myself. I'm not sure for how many hours I was doing it, but it was long enough for Chrissy to have apparently woken up, realized her phone was not there, and screamed at me when she came out of the bedroom and saw me on the couch with her phone. She ripped the phone out of my hands and clutched it to her chest like her life depended on it. But I had gotten more than enough from it by then. She immediately tried to tell me it was all just play talk. It was only an emotional affair. Not after what I read. My eyes were open to all the stuff she'd been doing. She asked how long I had been reading through the text. I just curtly replied, long enough. She looked completely defeated after I said that. Then I told her to get out. I didn't care what time it was. The agreement on the apartment was only in my name, and I can afford to keep it without her. She silently packed some clothes and left. Not even any tears from her. In fact, she had this look on her face that I can only describe as, I don't have to pretend anymore. She didn't look back as she left and shut the door. My biggest mistake was not immediately telling everyone about the affair, which gave Chrissy time to create and spread her own narrative. At some point, I woke up to my mother calling me. She was flipping out on me that Christy said I had cheated on her. I tried to tell her it was the opposite, but she didn't believe a word I said, and then she actually told me I was guilty until proven innocent. Wow, your mom sounds like she sucks. Before hanging up and blocking my number. My own mother actually blocked my number. I tried calling the house phone, but they refused to pick it up. So I tried going over to their house in the evening when I knew they would be home. But Chrissy was already there. She was on the couch with my mother comforting her and started fake sobbing the moment she saw me. My father came out of nowhere and sucker punched me in the jaw, and then told me he'd raised me better before shoving me out of the home without even a chance to explain what happened. Then my grandparents called me from their house phone and told me not to come to Christmas. None of them would believe me. They all loved Chrissy, to the point that everyone believed she'd been the perfect one for me. My mother especially loved her, and had been spending more time with her since Chrissy announced that she was pregnant. So they all took her word over mine. They even had Chrissy still come to spend Christmas Eve with them. As for me, I spent Christmas alone eating a reheated roast chicken from the supermarket. I'm not ashamed to admit I cried a bit. After Christmas was over, I found out from my grandparents that I was barred by them and my parents from New Year's as well. Wow, your family really sucks. Like, they don't care to hear both sides of anything, apparently, and they go scorched earth. Wow. I tried multiple times to contact anyone in my family that would listen, but they all believed Chrissy and thought I was a scumbag. Only my closest friends believed me after seeing screenshots I got from Chrissy's phone. But most people we mutually knew were on Chrissy's side. I even called into HR at work because they were getting anonymous calls about me. I showed them the screenshots on my phone and explained the whole story, and HR said they were giving me a warning. Why would they give you a warning for random people calling and you showed them how you're being harassed and treated? That doesn't make any sense. I got the signed record of the HR meeting because I knew I was going to need it for the pile of evidence I was making. I already tried posting the text messages on social media, but Chrissy claimed they were all fake. I went to a lawyer, had a legal letter drafted for Chrissy that said, "I'll sue you for defamation," and I wanted a DNA test for the unborn child. I told her I was recording the phone call. She got mad and told me to stop. I said no, and she either consents to being recorded or we can talk through our lawyers, and told me she would not consent to a DNA test. She still tried to claim I was the baby's father and that she would be coming after me for child support. She even called me a deadbeat, probably also part of her act. So I reminded her she'd need a DNA test just to get child support, and I wouldn't let her use my family to pressure me into paying for a child that isn't mine. She's already got them to throw me out and even spent Christmas Eve with my family after throwing me under the bus. She tried to object, and I said I'd see her in court, and the court would make her do a DNA test, and that DNA doesn't lie. I was ready to go scorched earth. I heard a deep sigh from her, and then she finally admitted it. The baby wasn't mine. I asked her why she did all this to me. She was already going to leave me for the other guy, so why destroy my life? She said that she'd taken the opportunity for the easy out because it was either her or me, and she didn't want to lose everything she'd worked for. Everyone in her family and mine saw her as a future wife, and she couldn't just leave me without a good reason. I asked her why she cheated, and she said she'd simply had long fallen out of love with me, and she'd only started dating me on a rebound after a bad breakup, which I was not aware of, but was still pretending to be with me because I was a temporary safety net until I found out her plan. I told Chrissy that I've got more than enough evidence for a defamation lawsuit and conspiracy to commit paternal fraud, and she could either come clean to everyone or I'd make sure she went down in court for framing me. I doubt she and her affair partner would stay employed if word got to their company. Chrissy knew I wasn't bluffing, so she immediately removed everything from her social media pertaining to the event, and then replaced it all with a big "I was wrong" sob story in which she still tried to make herself seem like the victim. Then she went to my parents to confess the truth, and of all things, try to beg them to convince me to take her back. I guess she wanted her safety net a while longer. My parents were so appalled that they threw her out and told her never to come back. Then they called me, begging that I come over and talk to them. So I did. They were extremely apologetic. I said that was funny because my father punched me in the face and didn't even give me a chance to explain. And my mom told me I was guilty until proven innocent before blocking me. My mother said through tears that she'd sided with Chrissy so quickly because she was desperate for a grandchild. I'm her oldest child, so she was really hoping I'd get married and have kids first. And of course, they all thought Chrissy's pregnancy was mine. My grandparents also showed up at the house to apologize to me for believing the words of Chrissy without even hearing my side. The whole family was upset and pointing fingers at each other about how they not only banned me from Christmas and New Year's Eve, but had Chrissy over for Christmas Eve while they all doted on her and kept talking about the first grandchild of the family. My father, in his misplaced anger, returned all of the gifts they had gotten for me and donated the ones that I had gotten for them to a local charity. My parents are now struggling to find and get all the gifts back, but the charity my father gave the gifts to is giving him the runaround. Well, I mean, it was a charity, you gave stuff to them, so of course they're not just going to be like, "Here, have this back." That's on your father. My father has also been getting serious flack for punching me. But no matter what they do, I'm still forever going to have the memory of my parents that believed the wrong person and didn't even give me a chance to explain before they decided I was guilty. They cut off their own son over someone else's lies during the holidays. I still haven't forgiven them. My family and group chat tried suggesting a second Christmas party, but we're already well past Christmas into January and had a lot of family members who came from out of state just for Christmas 2024. And I missed it all because they banned me from coming. Yet Chrissy got to be the pregnant devil in disguise they all doted over, while I was crying and munching on microwave chicken. At this point, a second Christmas party held just for me would feel out of pity, and I don't think I could be comfortable doing that. My grandmother practically lost it crying when I told her how I spent my Christmas and New Year's alone and dejected. A party just can't make up for everything they did. I told them all that I just can't do it right now, and I need space. I used to love Christmas. It was one of my favorite holidays. We do Secret Santa lotteries for each other. I drew my uncle's name in the Secret Santa lottery and got him a new smartwatch because I knew the one he had was on his last leg. I ended up sending it to him in the mail a couple of weeks after Christmas. I didn't want to return it like my parents did for the gifts they got me. And I still don't know who drew my name in the Secret Santa lottery. They haven't told me, and not to sound petty or selfish, but I didn't receive a Christmas gift at all from anyone as of yet. My uncle did call me nearly in tears about still sending my gift to him after he found out the truth about Chrissy, and told me he was so sorry for not sticking up for me. As for Chrissy, she and her affair partner pretty much lost everything. They shut down all their social medias and quit their jobs before they could have a chance of being outed and fired. They moved away last week after crashing with Chrissy's parents for a while. My mother did demand back the expensive stroller she had purchased for Chrissy. She refused to give it back. She refused to give anything back that she received at the baby shower. My mother was out of a lot of money for that stroller, and she hadn't even told my father how much she spent on it. Chrissy also refused to return the engagement ring I bought her. She was reportedly still wearing it, last I heard. I guess she's keeping it for the engagement to her affair partner, which Chrissy's parents told me was officially now on. But I consider the financial loss from the ring to have been a small price to pay to have not married that horrible woman. I wanted justice, but there was no point in telling the HR of their former employer. It wouldn't do much now or bring me any satisfaction. For now, though, her friends all cut her off, and her parents contacted me with major apologies, in that they were absolutely horrified to find out everything she'd done. But they are not cutting her off because she's their only daughter, and they want to know their grandchild, which I'm guessing Chrissy will probably be using as emotional blackmail to them at this point. The affair partner's parents contacted me too, and were absolutely livid at him for what he did. They told him he'd be disowned completely unless he married Chrissy, and told him he's not welcome in their house for a long time. He'd been living with them rent-free since moving back to the area because he was saving up for a house. So he and Chrissy should have a seed to start over somewhere else. As for me, I got a ton of apologies from everyone who believed Chrissy. And my friends are telling me there's plenty of fish in the sea, and Chrissy was just a shark masquerading as a tuna. I was hoping to be in a committed relationship by 30, but I don't want to force myself to date just for the sake of that. Wow, that was a doozy. So, there's a couple of things that I'm that I want to discuss about this. One is OP. I'm not trying to blame you for any of this because this wasn't your fault, but it does seem like you didn't try hard enough to actually present any evidence to anyone, or at least your family members. So sure, your mom called you and hung up before you can explain or anything, but then when you went over their house and they try to kick you out, you didn't say something like, "Hey, I have the evidence, it's on my phone, here, look at it," or anything like that. Like, or did you just say, but, kind of like how they do in the movies where there's a misunderstanding, and instead of just saying what the actual misunderstanding is, the truth, they instead just keep going, "But you gotta let me explain," and saying that over and over instead of just saying what it is. That's what I feel kind of happened with OP here. But once again, it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. His family are horrible people. They cut him off so quickly without getting his side of the story at all. I can't fathom that, to have everyone in my family hear a story and not even give me a chance. I don't know how you can do it. I wonder, it didn't seem like the OP had any problems with his family before this, so it's not like he's this bad kid with a history of doing all this stuff, so I don't know why they'd be so quick to get rid of him like that. It's insane to me. Your ex-fiancé is out of her mind. She's very much a narcissist and manipulator, and I would have still sued her after she admitted to everybody. I'd be like, "Thank you," and then I would have sued her, and she'd be like, "Why are you doing this? You told me you wouldn't." I'll be like, "Oh, I'm lying just like you did," and so I would still sue for defamation and everything. Like, why let her off on that? She needs to learn that there's consequences to her actions, and that was something horrible that I wouldn't want her to do to anyone else. So yeah, I would have sued her still. I'm surprised he didn't. And he didn't cut off his family after this either, so he's apparently very forgiving. I don't know if I could just act like nothing happened. I think I would have to go low contact or no contact with them completely. But those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think about this story. How would you have handled it? What would your response be? I appreciate you stopping by and listening. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. It helps the channel grow. I do appreciate it. And come back next time.